Last Friday around 9 p.m., Ajike Owens, a mother of 4, was shot and killed by an unidentified woman in Ocala, Florida. According to civil rights attorney Ben Crump, who is now representing the Owens family, AJ's children, who are 3 to 12 years old, were playing in a field next to an apartment complex when a 58-year-old white woman allegedly began yelling at them to get off her land and calling them racial slurs. According to Crump's statement, the children left, but accidentally left behind an iPad, which the woman took. When one of the kids tried to retrieve it, the woman threw it, hitting the boy and cracking the screen. Ms. Owens walked across the street to speak to the woman. But Crump's office says when she knocked on the door, the neighbor allegedly shot her through the closed front door. The bullet hole is shown here in photos provided by Crump's law firm. Owens was shot and later pronounced dead at the hospital.
Florida mother shot dead there, as you heard Reed talking about there, by her neighbor through the front door. She must have been threatened because the door was closed and this woman came over to retrieve her iPad, or at least give her a piece of her mind for the way she assaulted her kid. Things apparently you can't do in Florida because this woman, who hadn't been identified yet for reasons you're gonna find out now, she hasn't been arrested yet either. There's more, watch.
Her children ran to my house, banging on the door, asking for us to call the police that their mother was shot. She has called the cops just for them playing. She calls them names.
The mother went to get the iPad and you shoot her? Who does that?
She wants investigators to act.
Charge her. You know who did it. Charge her.
Neighbors and witnesses that saw it, you see the way they responded to it. Who does that? One of them, apparently her name is Susan Larick. That's just what family and people around have said. It's not confirmed by any police officers or any authority figures because they're not doing much about it. They said they have more investigating to do before they do anything about this. So it's been 5 days since, and they want to let everyone know, just calm down, just calm down. This is Florida, remember? Here's them.
The sheriff stressing his agency has more facts to gather. Also elevating the stress of the moment, items reportedly thrown at the kids, skates according to the sheriff.
It was a pair of skates that was thrown at the children.
The sheriff adding they have more investigative work to do.
And what we have to rule out is whether the deadly force was justified or not before we can even make the arrest.
Also at the briefing, local community leaders asking for patience.
We'd like to get to the crux of the matter as to what happened. We'd like to calm all emotions that are running through the community and let law enforcement and our legal system play it out.
Waz, this is one of those stories that people may wonder, hey, you guys, let it play out, let it play out. Hey, this is the thing, we've seen these play out before. And the reason why some people may not have much faith in the way that these may play out is because we've seen the Trayvon Martin situation from years ago and how stand your ground, because that's what they're trying to assess right now. If it applies here, which we find that it applies all the damn time in these types of things. And reasons why, politicians down there and pundits that support it for years since then have been pushing it like it's the best law ever because it encourages more people like this potential a culprit here to do stuff like this and go, society doesn't care. She's just a black woman.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is horrible. Besides the racial components, which, it's America. You can never rule out race in this situation. However, I will say to people, folks listening and watching, these crackers in Florida, they'll shoot some white people too now. Don't get it twisted. Like, these people are gun happy, trigger happy, and reckless. There's no two ways about it. I think somebody like you or I, Jayar, we look at this and we say to ourselves, this is clearly a murder. Like, you senselessly murdered this woman. Your life was not in danger. This was just a neighborly dispute gone horrifically bad, and obviously the cops should act. But this is what I would tell people, man. This is what gun violence actually looks like for the most part, 95% of the time. 100%. A lot of the stuff that gets to the news is these mass shootings. And they're horrible. Don't get it twisted. The school shootings, it's horrible. But most of the gun violence in America is something as stupid and as senseless as this bang bang argument between actual freaking neighbors. These aren't even strangers. These are neighbors. These people know each other. They live in community with one another, and somebody's dead behind a simple argument about kids playing. But yeah, this is the face of gun violence in America, right? I know they like to publicize the mass shootings, and again, it's horrific. But this is overwhelmingly the gun violence that occurs in our country.
Yeah, when it comes to the numbers that happen, I remember looking at a report about that, and they were saying these types of events, when 1 to 2 people in a dispute in the home, accidental, all these things, suicide, all these things happen, and that runs those numbers up. But we talk about those as responsible gun owners. People will call this lady who shot this woman through her front door out of self-defense a responsible gun owner, and her 4 children now have to watch. They said, I think her 9-year-old or one of her kids was next to her when she was shot, because that's responsible gun ownership, right? Or throwing an iPad at a kid, or skates, all these things. When does their stand their ground come in? What if that 9-year-old or whatever kid came up with a gun? This is Florida, right?